guys, David here. So we've just had a good podcast with Brian from RPM Painting. So we're just heading back up to Central Goldie now. We're going to catch up with Ania from Zeyphyr Stone, interior designer. Has a lot of digital products that she sells as well and helps builders and developers when they're sort of picking bathroom and kitchen templates. From what I know, we're just going to go and see one of her clients' jobs, which has just had the slab put down. So we're going to go and see that. We're going to go to her place in Surfers, film a podcast, talk to her about her business, how she's gotten to where she is today, and her social media following. So stay tuned for that one. It'll be good fun. Thanks so much for inviting us into your home today.
Pleasure.
Absolute pleasure, and couldn't believe the length of the hallway as we were coming down. Pretty impressive.
Yeah. You can play cricket down there probably.
Yeah,
Maybe not quite long enough.
Was there any thought process to that, or you just thought long hallway?
Just the connection from,
Nice.
just so you can see the water as you walk
nice.
in the door basically, and also just with the courtyard.
Yeah.
You know,
Beautiful.
yeah, it just made sense, get that northern light into that part of the house.
I like it. Let's just get a bit of a lay of the land. Let's pretend people don't know you from a bar of soap. What do you do? We'll start off with your background, a little bit of personal stuff, and then we'll sort of maybe discuss more how you work with builders, how you think it can be beneficial you working with builders. So yeah,
Sure.
Take us away.
So I run Zephyr Stone.
Cool.
So, backstory is I was always into property and started renovating houses like in my early 20s. It was, property was all I wanted to do. And did projects, basically had project managed my own projects and designed everything, designed all my own floor plans. And that's where what I do now grew from, which is Zephyr Stone, which started off just sharing tips and information and behind the scenes and grew into a bit more education and resources for renovators, builders and designers. Just because really wanting to share the information that I found really hard at the beginning when, there wasn't that, there's a lot more information now, but there just wasn't the information on how to do things, all the silly mistakes you make when you first start out renovating or building. And you really find that, mistakes can cost you so much money.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I made one this year. So yeah.
And I still make them, but
sure.
Wanting to share that information so people would get a really great result.
Yeah. So when you say you kind of like just got into it, you mean just interior design stuff or more renovating building side? Like, I should have made the bathroom bigger, or I've stuffed that room up. It shouldn't have been an extra sunroom. I should have made it a bedroom. Or are we talking
both?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, really. I think everything starting from people. At the beginning, making sure, you plan the design, because if you don't plan the layout and the design of a home or a room well, you can spend so much money, but you don't capitalize. It's such a shame to spend $50,000 on a room or $500 to $1 million on a house renovation. And then, things aren't amazing. What a wasted opportunity. And it's just that beginning, maybe you saved 20 grand on some structural changes or, you just didn't spend the time because, it was a bit. So that part of it, but then also the resources that we also on the website is also things like room planning, kitchen and bathroom layouts, like the installation heights for taps, to make it aesthetically look good in a space, and also functionalities, because obviously it has to look good. Like for me, I think everything has to look good, but it has to be really functional. If the space isn't functional, if things aren't in the right place, you walk into a bathroom and the vanity's off somewhere where it shouldn't be, and you're walking past the toilet. So it's all that sort of information. I think is so important. It's just terrible to see something with just people have spent money and it's just not optimized.
So you're the type of person, when you stay at a hotel or Airbnb, you initially do a full sort of audit of how it's been laid out.
I walk in, I'm scanning and going,
So when you first started doing the Instagram stuff, did you kind of have a target market, like say the first time homeowner doing their own renovation, or more to help builder? Did you have a kind of market, or just?
No, it was not a plan.
Okay.
We're going to do. It was just started as it was 6 or 7 years ago now. So just started an Instagram page, started sharing random things, and it sort of grew from there quite organically.
Cool. Yeah.
I think as we're sharing, I actually started trying to share just styling and, things that I was seeing on Instagram, but it was just like, that's too hard. Oh, that's not me. Like I'm more about the on-site tips, the things that I was doing every day, because I was project managing all these, builds and renovations.
For yourself?
For myself.
Okay, cool.
And so, it was more like sharing what I was doing and the things, the mistakes I made or the mistakes I avoided and just little tips and things. So that's where what we share now grew from. Just, it was very organic. It was basically what was easier to, deliver, what I just talked about naturally. So
yeah, for sure. So did this all kind of start when you left school? Like, can we just kind of do like a bit of a timestamp maybe from like 18 till how?
No, I did nursing at uni.
Okay. Oh, so
I was
different.
a nurse, and then but I was going to property seminars when I was like 18. So it was always like buy my first investment property really early. Wanted to do the property flipping. Rich Dad Poor Dad was I read that when I was 16 or 17. So nice. It sort of grew from there, and then start off with buying. I was living up in the Whitsundays at the time and bought a block in Mackay that was on a corner block basically, and split the house, the block in half. It was a corner block and the house was just on one end, so split it in half, got a builder to build the house, and then just got more and more involved. So it just sort of like quite like, where I am today grew very organically. It wasn't, it was always the plan to do property development and like property investment and flipping and renovating, but this was not really, it's just something that sort of happened like strategically, but not strategically. As it grew, it became more like, actually, this is something I really enjoy. I do it for free, so why not turn it into a business? Yeah,
nice. So obviously, like, was that your first block of land that you bought up in Mackay at the Whitsundays?
Yeah,
Was it like a little bit daunting? Were you like, am I doing the right thing? Or you backed yourself?
I think I've got, like, I find it exciting. Like, I love property. So nice. I was just like, got to do it.
Yeah.
So, it was just exciting. I just wanted to do it again. And, Mackay was in a place where it was growing at the time. So it was the beginning of the boom. We could just like see it,
nice.
So that sort of really was the property that then helped build a lot more.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was very different. Like,
nice.
Not what we're paying for property now, but and it was also obviously a country town, so.
Yeah, nice. So could you give us a rough idea maybe how many developments or projects you successfully delivered, maybe in a time frame of from your first one to
30, I don't know. Like, so that includes like not 30 houses, but like duplexes, 4-packs, 5-packs, renos, subdivisions.
And you were getting very involved all the way from the get-go, from design.
Well, it just became more and more. So just start off with just like buying and then getting a builder.
Okay, cool.
And then doing more of the town planning, doing more of the design. Then I was designing, then I did my, which I didn't finish, but my interior design course, I did most of that when my kids were really young. And that I was on the coast then.
Yeah.
And so it just like grew organically. It's nice. Like the thing that I was interested, I just did, and and it became the pathway to where I am today.
Yeah.
But I think it was very organic. But it also always then it was always like, well, I'm doing the property development. How can I then what can I do that I enjoy doing that I don't then have to pay someone to do? So that was like, I always think you don't want to do everything yourself. You hire experts where you need to, but you also want to learn to do something. And, the design I'm really passionate about.
Nice.
And the project management.
Yeah, for sure. So that must have been quite, would you say, pleasing for builders if they were coming in to do a job like yours? They knew they didn't have to worry about any of that?
Well, I actually think this is something I don't struggle with, but I find in the industry, I feel like builders and designers don't really work together. So I think it doesn't matter. I think when you've been on site with a builder and you've sort of like worked with them, and all designers and builders are different. So, I can't, like, I'm not labeling anyone, or this isn't an attack on anyone. I'm saying we're both guilty as builders and as designers of not working together very well. So I don't think, if you're the designer, I think a lot of, not everyone, but some builders sort of before you've even had a conversation, they're like, oh my gosh, what are they going to ask for, you know? And I think designers also have that with builders. They're like, there's not this, I feel like we could work together.
Make a better product here.
I just feel like we should be working together, and builders should be going, hey, this is like, I can't, but like, yes, designers every single day of the week design things that maybe can't happen, or, don't know how it all fits together. Yeah. And they're trying to create something amazing. They're not trying to make a builder's life hard.
Yeah.
Although we probably do it a lot, I think if builders should be educating designers should be talking to builders and saying, hey, will this work? Like we're both, we're both trying to do the best we can, but I think we're both guilty of sometimes not working well together.
Yeah, I think we probably, sometimes I felt like we would get that on our end as well, like as quantity surveyors, because everyone's like, oh, well, they don't know how long it's going to fucking take because they're not the ones building it.
Yeah.
But I think as we try and get more involved from like start and maybe a little bit in the middle and help do a track, they do see the benefit of what we can do. So maybe it's the same for you.
Maybe it's a product I need to create for builders and designers, like what to expect, educate. This is what builders have to deal with. So, this is how you can help them. And for designers, this is what because like I know both sides so well.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you've done the build. I've been on site every day with the build, with all the trades, so I probably work differently to some designers because I know more than I don't know. I'm not a builder.
Yeah.
I don't have all the building knowledge, and I'm not claiming to know everything.
Yeah.
But I've spent a lot of time on site, so I know how hard things are. I know how hard a change is. Like it's literally almost soul destroying. It's like no, but there's always going to be some. Generally, there's always going to be some changes, but you can limit those by spending the time at the beginning to design them. Speak, with the builder, talking about things, perhaps, like, I don't know whether, you can't avoid, some things are just unavoidable.
Yeah.
But I think, as there just has to be some, I don't know if it's a lack of education on both,
But would you feel like it's just more the architects and the architects kind of take care of all of that? Like who's actually picking all the internal stuff? Like,
a lot of the times it just depends.
Yeah.
Builders, everyone does. Like builders, some builders take that upon themselves and they have part of their team will help their client
someone
choose
in the
finishes.
office, do all 100%.
That. 100%.
Yeah.
And I know so many husband-wife building, like the builder is the husband, the wife's either a designer or she's just learnt that role because she helps the client and they offer a really great service. So it's always different. But I think, I think there's a real gap in the middle, or there's a real disconnect sometimes, and I feel like but I think on being on site, like what I was alluding to is, I know that I when I'm on site with builders, like I literally try and spend that time working through everything, and sometimes things have been installed in the wrong place. I know how hard it is to move a tap, so like I try and can we tweak the design? What stage are we at? What can we do to still keep the aesthetics? But I think just like. I think there's a lot of disconnect, and I'd love that to be better.
Yeah.
I think we can both do better.
Yeah. So do you put quite a lot of information that you put on Instagram around those kind of items?
A little bit. Yeah. And sometimes, people take it, I have to be careful because I've written things sometimes, and people have taken it not the way I've tried to, obviously communicate it maybe a bit vaguely, and it's been taken the wrong way. But I do try and, talk about that, basically, things like, and also to renovators, when you're asking your builder for this is it's not really, this is why it's hard, or this is why you might get a certain reaction, because, it's like, I think I said something the other day, it's like, as if, the analogy of, creating a whole meal and your kids coming in and going, no, I want something else, and you having to go back into the kitchen. Like, if a builder's done something and then you ask for a change, it's like, they feel like they're at this stage of the job and they might have to go all the way back. And it might affect so many other things as well.
Versus if they made a couple of extra meetings on the front end to design where the plumbing's all going to be laid out, or selecting all the colour finishes of whatever, everything that's going on.
Yeah, exactly. But and still just some changes. Like sometimes ideas come up, but and builders aren't going to be happy with that, and and it's not the right thing, and it's rightfully so. Like, I know it would be annoying, but it's so hard because we're both doing a different job, but we're trying to get the same result. We're trying to get the best possible build. We're trying to create something amazing, and then obviously for a builder, there's they've got to give the build warranty. They're looking after so many trades. They can, even if you're on site every single day, so many things go wrong and so many things, things happen.
Changing, and there's so many unforeseen.
Without changes, there's so many things that happen on site, and they're relying on all their trades, and trades will be amazing and so professional, but still, you can only communicate so much of a design from this. Start from here. It's like Chinese whispers. The architect's drawn something, the interior designer added stuff, then the builders managed it. Then it comes down to here, and you go back to there, and it's like, well, that's not what there's something's not being detailed properly or miscommunicated, or it's. the builder might have done exactly what was written there, and it was written wrong, or
Yeah, for sure.
so it's like it's
So
hard.
are you definitely saying this is something that like you would like to see more people working on, everything from, cookie cutter townhouses right up through to high-end architectural stuff? Like, are you saying that maybe there is too much of a disconnect between designers and builders across the board, or just at certain build types of builds?
I think it's not. I mean, there's always going to be probably disconnect because every project is so different.
Yeah.
But I think we can all do better at trying to work together.
Yeah.
Rather than going, oh, there's a change, and us as designers going, oh, they won't do this. Like, well, maybe the builder won't do it because it's physically, it's like literally impossible.
Yeah.
So but I think we can both try. We can, as two industries, work together better, or try and communicate better, and take it as an opportunity to educate. Just like builders can take it as an opportunity to educate us, but without going, without the big eye roll, but going, hey, this doesn't work because of this, and so then as a designer we can go, oh, okay, great. How can I achieve this? No, it's not achievable, or we have to do this, and sometimes it's also a budget thing. Like the builder's like, I can do this, but the client won't be able to pay for it because it involves so many different steps. So I think there's no answer. I think we just start by I think a bit of education, but also then I think also just trying to at least at the beginning of the relationship, trying to go, hey, let's try and work together. This doesn't work.
Yeah. What can we do to fix it, or what's
changes? How try and just work better together. I think is good. But I mean, we're all doing the best job we can, and
100%. It's a tough gig
anyway. And the building and design environment changes so quickly, and products change so quickly. It's like a moving target as it is. So it's only so much you can do. Nice.
Okay, cool. Good to get a little bit of outlay on what you do. So, bit of a personal day-to-day. What's your standard days looking like at the moment? You said you were at a few expos the other week, and do you have any current projects? What do you do?
I've got a few client projects that are, some in the design phase, some building, which range from like a 4-pack townhouse to a big holiday house on North Stratty to just a local all brand new builds, but we do renovations as well, as an interior design studio. But a lot of my day to day is also just working on like products information and sharing that, which is something I'm building, and I'm actually in the process of developing products for builders, because I feel like being in that space where you're building and also like so many of my friends and so many builders I know who are offering that service of design or for their clients, where products where it can help them win back a lot of time, and that where there's solutions for them, whether it's it can be a custom sort of design, custom color schemes and things like that, or we also I was having a look on those resources, like color schemes they can purchase.
Yeah. So when you say you're working on stuff at the moment for the client, like, are you obviously working with the architect designer to do? You are the designer, they're the architect, and you're working. Like, have they selected a builder yet?
Yeah. So these are all being built by a builder. Okay. They were clients. Different scenarios. Like sometimes we work with an architect where they'll sort of engage us. We still work with the client. Or a developer might engage us.
Okay.
We get do custom design for either directly for someone who's building or renovating for themselves, for builders, and then developers. So architects sometimes engage us as well.
Yeah. So just if people don't understand, but like, do you get engaged directly through an architect or a builder, and then you have like a sort of set fee on what you're working and what you do?
Or also directly by the client. So someone's had an architect design a house for them, and then they'll finish. That's sort of like that process is finished, and then they come to us and go, can you now do the interiors and do the kitchen design, because the kitchen's there, but it's not all detailed, because some architects do have that service, but not all architects or building designers include that service. So they might come to us.
So they're meaning they'll kind of just do a layout, but then you'll be like style of cabinetry, style of where all the shelves are going, where the bins going.
We'll do all the cabinetry drawings. We'll do everything. We'll also do floor plan review if it's we'll either if someone asks for it, or if we think there's a lot of there's scope to really improve something, or sometimes because architects do, I can't do what an architect does, like design a home. So it's, I mean, I can, but not to the extent where they
that's what they're employed to
consider
do.
it on they just consider so many different aspects that we don't necessarily consider day to day. And then we take it to another level, go, okay, wait a minute, the walkway in the kitchen is not wide enough. Or, we do things like that, where it may have not been, it was not necessarily part of their scope do that. They put the kitchen in. Just depends, like every architectural building site will offer a different service or take things to a certain level.
So you will actually look at things like that, like width of hallways and how much space and gaps you like for sculleries and pantries and that?
Everything.
Like, wow.
When we look at a floor plan, that's the first thing we look at.
Measurements.
Any opportunities to make sure nothing's been like too big, too small, like, because, and the proportions of a space, like, furniture, like first we straight away look at furniture, not that we we just make sure we think, okay, everything, we can fit a couch in there or whatever, and dining space, is there enough room for everything?
Yeah, nice.
Doors opening, are they in the right, like, it just depends. Like if someone says, no, love it, then we obviously won't
not going to change anything,
But, and sometimes people say, look, we don't want to change too much, but if there's anything that you can see that's really obvious.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
So like it's just also seeing things from another perspective, like
another set of eyes running over something,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, and then we'll draw up, so we can make those suggestions, and then also draw up all the cabinetry, absolutely fully detailed, scope of works in terms of specifications.
Yeah, specs. Yeah.
So, all the colours, finishes, taps. Do all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, nice.
Everything and anything basically after the floor plan.
Okay, cool. So you come in and do like all the final tweaks and just check once
before
it gets
exterior colours, all that sort of stuff, any suggestions. And we also look at airflow. We look at all that sort of stuff when we're looking at,
stuff that builders don't want to look at, probably.
Yeah, I mean, everyone can only do so much.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're managing projects.
Nice. Before we jump into a bit of the digital product stuff, I mean, you obviously are a bit of a workaholic.
Yeah.
Do you take many holidays? What do you do for fun? What's like your outside of
I like
work?
getting out on the water.
Yeah, nice. Jet skis?
Yes.
That's you?
Yeah.
You don't find them boring after a while? The thrill of the rush.
Really. I mean, usually we go somewhere.
Yeah, nice.
So, not really.
Okay.
Like, I mean, I'm not out there every weekend.
Yeah.
Holidays, absolutely love
When did you last go overseas?
I went to Fiji, but that was for a business retreat.
Okay, so not really a holiday.
It was fun.
Half. Yeah, nice.
It was fun. Yeah, so that was only about a month ago or so.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I love traveling. I love architecture and all that. So, anywhere.
In Europe, you'd love old architecture.
Yeah, I loved Europe and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, cool.
Have to probably plan more holidays.
Good stuff. So you're not always doing, I mean, obviously most of the meetings you'd take around here on the Gold Coast are mainly work meetings, yeah?
In terms of, we work Australia-wide, but generally, like everything's really, we do a lot of stuff via Zoom and that now in terms of with clients and things like that, but do a lot of Gold Coast, Brisbane-based, can do in person.
Okay, cool.
And then we can do Sydney and Melbourne, but generally most things are done on Teams, even more locally, a lot of things are done online now.
So are you doing many site visits to physical jobs, like around here, when you can?
Yeah, definitely when we can. Yeah,
Okay,
and it's when it's part of the scope of works. But, obviously everyone, like, especially with things tightening up, with, building being so much more expensive, we do that when we need, when we ask to or when we need to. But a lot of the time it's, clients will just maybe just ask us to, answer some questions or stuff and not necessarily go to site. But,
is that ever like something that pops up with you guys at interior design? Like, are you guys ever getting asked around are you given budgets to work to for the stuff, or is it?
We always ask. It's one of the first questions.
Yeah, okay.
Because it's so important. Like, we don't want to design something that people can't build. But then it's hard because even in the last couple of years, we've asked for a budget, we've designed something, and then if it's taken 18 months for the client to start building, it's like blown out.
Yeah, the cost goes out the gate. Well, you don't know what in like economic environment.
Exactly, with, and and they might have changes that occur, or something happens with the site structurally that it didn't expect, and that blows it out, and then everything else. So we've actually had to spec some things where it's been 18 months, we didn't start till now, and it's like
now we need to dial it down a bit.
So
are you seeing a bit of like maybe a market shift in the Gold Coast area or wherever you're doing projects right now
in regards of market shift, as in
what's happening with the market? Like, are more people, like you said, tightening up and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I think generally across the board, people are finding everything's more expensive than what they anticipated.
Yeah.
And even if they might have got a bit, like they might have had it quoted. So a lot of the time the clients had it quoted, but then they've gone to build 18 months later and it's the pricing's
nowhere the
completely
same.
different. Yeah, so I think across the board, I know things are sort of getting a little bit better now, as in we're not having the huge, it doesn't seem to be the big change, like, it's not moving as much now in terms of pricing. But
Everywhere on the Gold Coast at the moment, just
yeah,
we're
and it's
seeing cranes
expensive.
everywhere.
Yeah.
But I don't know how people are even costing the land here. Everything's so close to the beach. It's like, how are people affording to get into, I don't know, areas where it's so lucrative here?
It's still, I think, compared to Sydney, some areas of Sydney, it's still like it's more affordable. But definitely, it's sorry, it's
That's all right. I
what was
saw that. Get out of here.
I think I think generally prices have sort of plateaued a little bit now, or it seems to have plateaued a little bit generally. But and I think there's more. It's builders aren't as, they're still busy, but it's not like what we saw a couple of years ago where you couldn't get a quote. But I think property market itself has gone up so much, so that's people are sort of have spent more buying, so then it's like they have less to renovate or build as well. So
do you have much engagement, like knowing what builders are doing at the moment in regards to fixed price or charge up to clients? Like, do you have much input there with, like, on the cost front?
Not really.
Not
like
really?
I think I think I'm generally aware of what things cost. But I mean that's such a actually, it's not a true statement as well, because one builder will charge a lot more because it's a different finish. It's different detail. Like, it can, two quotes can be so different, but one quote might not include a lot of things that another quote does. So I think
tag outs are a big...
generally we can sort of go by square meter. I try and think by per square meter, and so I can speak to builders and know what what it's costing at the moment.
Do you want to share like the average square meter type of job you're working on at the moment? Real average.
It depends, like anywhere from like really lower end might be 3.5 to it could be 5 to 6 thousand a square meter. But it really just it depends on if it's a build renovation, like what.
Because we see renovations and extensions can go north of $7,000.
100% every day of the week. Like really 4 to 5 is it becoming an average?
That's like the happy medium.
Yeah, it just depends on obviously if it's like if there's 3 bathrooms and 1 bedroom, or if it's all bathrooms, or like it depends on whether that sort of stuff. Like what square meterage is it? Like what room is it? Because obviously ranges so much. But 5 to 6 is so common. Really probably 7 to 8 plus would be more really
reasonable.
High end.
I feel like here in the Gold Coast, absolutely.
I think I don't know. I know in the past I know that in Sydney it's cost a lot more to build for clients than it has here when we've had similar projects being priced up.
Sydney.
But we have caught up a lot. I think.
Nice. So obviously you work for like a main group of different people, but you sort of see yourself working for the same architects, builders? Like, are you all in a bit of like a niche group? And then can you pick clients that you think are going to be tough work?
Sometimes.
I've
been really lucky, to be honest. I haven't really had any like that many clients that have been really terrible. Or like terrible. I mean, not really. Like by terrible, I just mean. I think it's not really a terrible client. It's more like a disconnect, where you sort of, you may not be the right designer for them.
Expectations.
Or maybe, and I think when you learn to manage and communicate well, that sort of becomes less of an issue. But I think, we've got systems in place for design and stuff. And I think as long as you keep that communication clear, we have things like the welcome pack, which we actually, one of the products we sell, and that's such a great product because, right at the beginning, we address so many frequently asked questions and everything else.
FAQs are big, eh?
And sort of like, and this is how to contact us, and these are our contact hours. Like, and I hear people saying, the client managing, they're messaging me on a Saturday, and I'm thinking,
did you not set
you
this
allow,
out
you allow that, and it's not, and of course, like, the client's not, they're not doing anything wrong. It's just like you've not said that that's not, that you're not available or whatever, and it's, and you as a builder designer, you need to be able to switch off and have that downtime so you can do,
have a life,
better.
and work better. Yeah,
exactly.
Sure.
So I think, Can't say I've had any really terrible
That's
clients
good.
at all. I've been very lucky.
Nice.
Some more difficult than others, or requiring a lot more information or time. But I think it's been pretty good.
I feel like whenever you need, this has just been in my experience of having a building business, but I feel like whenever you've needed an interior designer, you're kind of moving more towards the budget's not really an issue.
Yes,
False
that's
or
another
true?
thing.
Yeah.
With a builder, builders a much longer relationship. Like
Yeah.
builders have a hard gig. It's like
They can be
like
involved before
12
concept.
months or more.
Yeah.
And like it's like a relationship.
Well, if
By
the
the end of it, it's like
if the standard DA time would be 12 months and you meet them at a concept stage, you're going to walk them all the way through that, all the way through design, and then build and then hand over.
and if they're doing a lot of
That's
stuff themselves,
2
they
years.
don't have processes and a big team
Yeah.
because them having to manage a lot themselves.
Yeah.
It then it's hard because it's and things aren't necessarily designed or planned, and they're having to wait for information. Either they might have asked the client a number of times and it hasn't been provided, or there just isn't a schedule and things like that. It's hard, but having a designer. Having the right designer for your project and then having the specs and everything detailed and drawn up will save the builder so much time.
Yeah, for
the
sure.
client make it so much more stress-free, but it is a cost at the beginning. I always feel like with the right designer and with the that can design the home that you want well, you more than get that back.
Yeah.
Like tenfold in terms of the design, the finishes, the end product.
Yeah.
But it is money that people have to spend, and like you can still get the result. You can still get a result. So it's sometimes like you might pay anywhere from 20 to 50 plus for an interior designer for full spec. So at the beginning it's sort of like you feel like you might not need that, but it's so much. It does, like as a builder, like you've got everything specified, the height, the height of where everything's installed, what's being installed, everything's there. So it's
And are those stuff? And I'd be quite keen to talk about this, but the info products that you offer and kind of what you want to do with that. But is that like a package you sell? Like say for example,
definitely.
if you buy a $20,000 package, you'll get, tell us what that gives you and how that can help people.
Well, so do you mean like the custom design?
Yeah, or just let's talk about the info products that you sell on your website.
Oh yeah, they're a lot cheaper. They're not 20,000.
Yeah, okay, but I just want to get. We can talk about your stuff after, but yeah, what was the inspiration behind that, and what does that give you? Those info products?
Yeah, so that gives you like a whole room, the floor plan, the elevations. So what
nice.
height to install the taps, what tap was used, which tiles, and obviously. We do have more generic products that, are sort of just bathroom or kitchen planning, like all the measurements and everything else, installation heights and everything.
Okay.
So, and that does give you all that information. And then you can always reply. So, you've got brass taps, you've got this colour tiles. You can always then swap out a certain finish based on your budget or, tweak the measurements to, work in your space. But it gives you a lot of that information. The distance where the bath should sit, how far from the wall.
So you go into that detail as well.
Everything. It's fully detailed.
Yeah. Because I think I told you I'm doing a house at the moment, and the builder's like, "Hey, I'm just like, mate, I'll pay you for an extra day." I don't really care. Just
you can either pay an interior design. Well, that's what interior designer does. Like they will literally detail everything for you,
nice.
like the kitchen plan, the island bench, the height of the bench, the distances. Everything will be drawn up and detailed, ready to give to a builder or a cabinet maker or whatever,
I see.
or and all the colours and which taps and everything else, or our products you can buy that sort of information. It's a bit more like it's a certain bathroom pack you might be buying, but then you can tweak it, or you can there's also a range of we sell packs where you can buy a whole lot of colour schemes, like I think it's 11 bathroom colour schemes
types
in
of
one
packs.
pack, so it's
and that will include like vanity style and colours, mirrors,
everything. The heights, installation height, all that sort of information.
Did someone give you did that just come to you? Did someone give you a tip or trick about that, or were you just?
No, just like, it's just something that we started with the colour schemes, and then we were like, we're just getting asked these questions all the time, so we're like, we're just gonna put a product, because on social media, like in Instagram and things, I was answering so many of those questions.
Yeah, I need to reduce my time.
Can't keep answering all these questions, so just turned it into a pack that you could buy.
Nice. That's why we put pricing on our website, because 8 questions a week were, hey, how much do you charge? I'm just like, go to the pricing page.
Like, I can't keep doing this and answering these questions. So
yeah, that's really good. So because I know we spoke last time around your info products and that, but where do you see, like, what are you trying to do with the info products? Like, what are you trying to? What's your angle with it? Like, what's the goal with
try and make them a
Selling.
bit more generic and try and really like just, I'm speaking to builders at the moment and saying like, what do you need? What's hard? Like what can we make easy that, because, at the end of the day, we want to create products that answer all the questions and give them what they need.
And when you say products, you mean you want to create like you just want someone to be able to pick a template and it's going to give you everything you need for all of that, and you know where to get it.
Yeah.
And because were you going to say you're going to look into pricing as well, and if you can do deals with dealers and tile stores?
Definitely.
Try and get,
We already have like reno discounts and stuff in store, but like trying to build more of that where, because I think I think there's as interior designers, we have certain products that we can purchase, like furniture wise, and builders get trade pricing, but like not as much as, so we are working on things like that, but more so at this stage, more the angle of, just the information that will save them time, with their client, that will answer those questions, packages whether it's an interior design package specifically for builders with what they need, because they might only need the specs and everything, and it's like, they know everything's going to match. The tiles are within their price range generally, like, they go, okay, this is our price range, or, based on what their client, what they've quoted for their client, things like that. So packages like that, as well as the digital products, which, are more like business templates for them, which is like, the welcome pack, where, it's literally a template, you customize it with all your branding. Every time you get a client, inquiry, you can say, thank you, and, this is, and you can send them, and it's got all the frequently asked questions. This is how we work. This is the stages of the build. You can even say, this is separate to that in an email. You can say, this is what we usually charge. This is what this build will, it can...
Cuts out the potential sales process as well.
It does.
It might make it easier for you. They know
it does.
what they're
it's
in for.
Information, and the packs like looks great. So it's like, it means they can respond to a client really quickly.
Yeah.
And straight away. And the client will come back to them, and or if they don't, they know they weren't necessarily going to come back to them in the first place. If they come back straight away and go, oh, great, let's, quote, then that's generally... Because, I find, even as a designer, I find you get so many inquiries, and then you respond, and then you don't hear from the client.
Yeah.
So this sort of helps weed that out a little bit, because you give them a whole lot of information. You can reply to them really quickly. You can give them so much information about how you work, because you can customize that yourself. Once you've got that welcome pack, then you can just send it out to every new inquiry.
Yeah, true. Yeah, we do the same as well. I think it's really beneficial. Okay, 2-part question here. Are you a one-woman working team? And how many inquiries a month are you roughly getting for your full package services?
No, I'm not definitely. I don't do everything myself. I've got a team.
How many people are in the team?
We've got 3 at the moment, designers. And then just depends.
Remotely, do you have an office? Sorry.
Not, we used to. We shut that down during COVID, and
Didn't find a need to go back to it?
No, not yet. But it is possibly on the cards in the future.
Okay.
But at the moment, happy.
Are they based in the GC as well?
GC and one in Sydney.
Okay, cool. And do you have regular team meetings, daily, weekly?
Not daily, but definitely. It's more per project, so it's more like, depending on what projects we have and what stage they're at, and definitely a certain stage is right at the beginning, when we're going through concepts and things like that, where we think the direction's going,
cool.
To make sure we're all on the same page, and also for ideas, because, we're always of the frame of mind where, as a team of designers, we can do a lot more than, if you're looking at it as one person, people can, there's so many more ideas that can come to the table, and, potentially to make the design as amazing as possible.
Yeah. And how many sort of inquiries a month do you get for your services at the moment?
Oh, it really depends.
Yeah, fluctuates a lot.
Yeah, we can get 10 in a day, and then we can get, nothing for a few days. Like, it just really depends.
Yeah.
And, some of those, literally, and then we get it's so, I mean, I don't know if you find the same. Like,
we on average have 10 days a month where nothing happens.
Yeah.
But the other 20 days are enough to keep us going.
Yeah, exactly. Days. Like, we never run out of jobs.
Cool. So do you have a big backlog at the moment? Like, what's your kind of
Yeah,
work?
we do.
Okay.
We're booked for the coming months. So
Is it hard to find interior designers?
I don't know. I think everyone I know is generally pretty busy.
Yeah, if you're good, you're busy.
It does sort of fluctuate, like certain times of the year.
Yeah.
You know, everyone's busy. I think, you know, there's usually a lull just after Christmas, then kids start back at school.
Absolutely.
Everybody's like, you know, you get a lot of inquiries. So it just depends. And, you
Yeah.
know, the market as well.
Yeah,
It'll
for
vary
sure.
with the market.
Yeah.
But I think there's always people looking for help with their homes.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
you know.
So your time is pretty much split between the actual business offering service and then creating the digital products.
Yes, yeah,
And
exactly.
then because they're digital products, there's not much time on the selling side, obviously.
Well, I think it's the selling side, you know, there is time. It's more like, I think sharing information and, you know, and marketing that way.
Yeah.
I think sharing the information is more like how we market and sell
Yeah.
rather than, you know, selling through like, you know, the old school
Old
call
school
up.
way of selling.
But it depends on, the products. And I think we get a lot of, in terms of custom or like bespoke interior design, we get a lot of repeat business, like the same
Nice.
customers, we might design another home for them or, you
Yeah.
know, someone that they know, as well as just, you know, new inquiries that come in through the
Yeah.
website. But then, and through the digital products, I think, you know, because we're on Instagram, Pinterest, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
all those different, you know, we've obviously got the website, we've got blogs, so people find us in different
Yeah,
ways.
you've got a lot of stuff there, eh?
Yeah.
What's your main existing target? Is it more builders or homeowners?
It's a bit of both.
50-50?
Yeah, because I think
Shit, that's
I just love sharing information.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, and you know, talking about the things that I found hard in different stages of, you know, whether it was
Yeah.
developing or building or designing. So, you know, and renovating in the early days. So I think like sharing information and providing solutions.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's what we're always trying to do.
Yeah.
And make things easier for people so they avoid the mistakes. So they end up with a product that not only that they, because there's like two aspects. It's like you end up with something that you love to live in, but then it's also a home that that has the capital, the value, like you've spent all this money on it, and it's been an investment rather than, you know, like you'll barely get your money back, or you might not get your money back.
Yeah. Is there a bit of strategy behind how you do your Instagram at the moment? And was there a bit of a wow moment where you thought, shit, we can really like monetize this? Because you've got a good following, you know?
It probably was a wow moment at the beginning, like
Do you know
early
roughly
days.
at like, because I remember there's a specific moment where someone reposted one of my fixed price first charge up videos, and I literally woke up the next day and it was kind of what I thought was massive, and we had like 10 new job requests, and that for me was, I think we went from 300 to 1100 overnight.
Yeah.
Did you have a moment like that?
I think
and you were like,
right in the early days when
yeah.
someone reposted us, we were like, oh,
Nice.
wow. It was like, you know, but I think we had like,
do you remember roughly what you went from into?
yeah, I think it was 400 or 500. And then sometimes, like, you still have stuff happen where, like, someone will do, you know, I think there was, like, I think it was, like, you know, a media company did, top 10 accounts to follow for renovation tips. So we were, like, 1 or 2. And it was, like, and we didn't know about it. They just write an article.
Yeah.
And it was, like, a massive media thing. I think it was, like, I don't know, and we were like, oh, awesome. And it was sort of like, you just go, oh, what's happened? Something's happened. Like, surely my post didn't go that well.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like, you know, when someone reposts you on things like that, which is great. And we try and do that for other people as well. We try and, I feel like there is, like, with builders and designers, I'm sure there's, like, a lot of, I mean, like, you know, you're each other's competition, but I feel like social media actually is very different. Like, I think people are generally found people are very supportive. They share each other's information. They share each other's ideas. Like, we always, you know, if we share someone else's design, we always tag them, you know, like, I think it's really a really great platform for that sort of collaboration.
I think it is as well. I definitely know, I see a lot of stuff around builders saying, you know, if we all held our rates at a certain standard, we would all make better money, work for better clients and get better jobs versus, you know, everyone trying to undercut each other because it's only going one way
exactly.
to the bottom. So,
and it's hard because someone might do that not intentionally, but they need to win the job.
Put money in.
But then on the other hand, it's obviously like, then it is, you know, a detriment to the whole, you know,
the whole industry. Yeah, no, that's absolutely true.
Hard.
What's kind of the goal for the business over the next couple of years? Do you have any plans of where you want to go, directions?
Yeah, I think definitely work more on the resources. You know, that's something that has become more of a focal point as a business. Still do the custom interior design, but just those resources and, you know, so like I've always thought there's like all these amazing businesses that offer like renovation courses and things like that. And I've always tried to offer more like, because not everybody wants a whole course. So try and offer parts of a course.
Part packages. I did see that because
you can buy, we also sell them as a bundle, but really try and offer just parts. Like if
Small
someone needs
segments.
something, they don't
Yeah.
want to spend, you know, $1,000 on a course or anything else. They can just buy sections.
Yeah,
So,
because you were selling like just bathroom templates, eh?
Yeah,
Yeah, so I think
yeah.
that's a good idea instead of doing a full interior fit out kitchen and bathroom. And,
Yeah,
and like you
exactly.
said, it's triple the price or whatever. So,
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, build more of those products.
Nice.
You know, look at all the products we've got. Some of them, you know, been around for a while. So look at repackaging those or redoing those. But yeah, and just look at more what people, you know, just really always trying to go back and saying, you know, to builders, designers, or renovators, like, what do you need? What do you struggle with?
Cool.
And try to provide that information.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So, any builders looking for an interior designer out there, where do they find you, and what's your pitch to builders? Can you make their lives easier?
Yeah, I think I make their life. I try not make their life harder.
Yeah.
I try and work with them.
Nice.
We find us on our website, which is zephyrandstone.com.au, or at Zephyr Stone.
Awesome.
On Instagram, Pinterest, everywhere. I think we try to be everywhere where everyone is.
You're on every platform.
Yep.
YouTube will be next for you.
Yes,
This
we
can
worked
be
on
your
a little
first-
bit, but not really. It's just something we need to work on.
Yeah, this can be your first long form post.
Okay,
Cool.
done.
I think we're going to go look at a little job now, aren't we?
Yeah,
Cool.
definitely.
All right, thank you so much.
Pleasure.
Much appreciated.
Thank you. Been
Awesome.
great chatting.
That was